What's up, everybody? How you doing? We've
Maayong hapon.
Yes, my own hapon. My own hapon. Good evening. It is Thursday, November 9th. It is 5 in the evening, and it is 85 degrees. A little igam?
No, just cool.
Just
right.
cool? Just right? No igam?
Yeah, no igam.
All right, guys. Well, we'll get right to it. Here is the topic of this video, which is the Philippines the right destination for you? Right? That's the topic. And really this kind of came about with a couple of foreigners we've met. You know, we meet a lot of people who are on their scouting trip. They're taking, you know, their first couple trips out to the Philippines. And some of these guys are like, yes, they're, you know, like fish in water. They're swimming around having a good time. Some of the guys are not. They're really kind of struggling. So wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that, right? Like, are the Philippines worse for you? And we kind of broke it up in a couple of characteristics where we've got some characteristics that work well and some that don't.
Yeah.
So let's start off with a not so well. What are some of the characteristics, Joe, that you've seen in foreigners that don't work so well?
So far, some of the foreigners I have seen, they have arrogance.
Arrogance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
A big one, right? And that's, a couple of Filipinos have told me that. My buddy John was talking about that as well. He said, Chris, that's one of the big turnoffs for Westerners to come over, is an arrogant Westerner can be a problem.
Yeah.
All right. So
you'll get in trouble
Right.
with arrogance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the other ones? Yeah. Or
Intense aggressiveness.
intense and aggressiveness. That'll also get you in trouble. Not a good characteristics to have here in the Philippines. Okay.
Yeah.
Some other ones that you can think of, or is that pretty much your list?
Impatient.
Impatient,
Yes. And
intense,
short-tempered.
short-tempered.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, but you know.
Right? Yeah. A couple of other things that, as I was brainstorming this, I saw too, and this one really isn't a characteristics, but someone who's really not heat tolerant, right?
Yeah.
Like, we met a couple guys that, you know, they really need their places cold and cool, and you know, that's not too bad, but they don't really have a big tolerance to heat. I would say if you're if you're a polar bear, right? If you like the snow,
Yes.
the Philippines might not be a destination for you, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not that it's really bad. I think we've we've been around for a while, and where the weather really hasn't been that bad, but you know, it's not cold. I would not call the Philippines cold at all.
It's tropical.
Yeah, definitely tropical.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, you really gotta prepare for your clothing. You have to buy
point.
clothing before you get here, because we have Asian sizes. We don't have triple extra large or double extra large.
That's right.
Yeah, it's kind of challenging to find those codes, especially also
Right.
the shoe sizes, the slipper. So you really have to get that in the U.S.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Joe, because you know, there's a saying back in Colorado that there's really no such thing as bad weather, but bad gear, and
Right.
I think that's right on. You really need to get clothing that's good for the environment that's here, and it is challenging to find here. But back on the characteristics, yes. So heat adverse is a bad one. Also, too, someone who's maybe bug adverse, someone who maybe if you live somewhere where there's a hard freeze, you know, that's going to be an environment where, you know, you don't really have a lot of bugs. Here, it's tropical. There's bugs around.
There's gonna be bugs.
Yeah, so you really want to be aware of that. And there's some best practices around, you know, how to be in those types of environments. You know, you want to keep your house clean. You don't want to keep food out, that kind of deal. If you've lived in Florida, you're completely aware. But if you've lived in Alaska or whatever, you know, even the northern part of the United States where that's not an issue, then those are things that you're going to want to adjust to. All right. So what are some of the characteristics that do work for someone?
Adventurous.
Yeah, good one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what else?
Open-minded.
Yeah.
Generous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Open-minded, generous, carefree.
Carefree.
I mean,
yeah.
come on. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, being carefree, easygoing, happy, smiley, you know, compassionate, right?
Yep.
Yeah, have an open mind. You know, really just be this
open
isn't, you know,
to-
we came here to a new country to really explore something different, you know. Just be open to that, right? Open to the differences that are here.
open to change.
Yeah, yeah.
Be able to adapt easily.
Yep. I'd also added on here too, I think, is a little bit of a lone wolf, right? You know,
Yeah.
not a complete loner, but someone who's able to function by themselves, I think, is also
Yeah,
really important here, right?
true.
All right. So the last section that I have are some of like maybe the pros and cons of living here in the Philippines, because I think this too will help you kind of get an idea if this is a place for you or not. So what would you say are some of the cons in living here?
Cons?
Yeah. And this might be hard for you to answer because,
Yeah.
you know, you don't really have anything compared to because this is where you live, but yeah. So, and the cons that I have for the Philippines is that it's, you know, it's highly populated. You might have some air quality issues depending on where you live. Trash and pollution could be a big deal. Medical services may not be up to par from Western standards, kind of what you're used to. Performing arts is another one that might not be there. I mean, it's not a super modern society, right? So if you're into the arts and the theater, you might have some, you know, some challenges there. Yeah, you know, a really modern society. The Philippines isn't that. I mean, we're in the business districts, which is a little bit, and you can be in the BGC in Manila and have a little bit of that, but for the most part, it's not super modern. But I also think that's some of the charm of it too, right? And one of the other cons that I had that some gentlemen really struggled with recently that I've been around was, you know, the homeless people and the animals. You know, you're going to see
Stray
some of that
animals,
around here in the Philippines. You're going to see street people, but, you know, coming from Denver, and I think a lot of big cities, you see that everywhere there too. But, you know, so it's not anything more than what I've seen. I think the difference between here and there would be, for me, is really just kind of like the naked people that you sometimes see. You see some of that crazy naked
Yeah.
people on the streets that you wouldn't see that in the United States. And then, you know, the animals, you see a lot of like stray dogs and
Yeah.
cats and
The-
stuff like
The
that.
beggars
Right.
that won't stop following you.
Well, you have that in the United States, so
Right.
that's kind of there too. And really in Mexico and beach stuff like that, you'll have people like that everywhere. Okay. And then we'll finish up with some of the pros about living here. Like, what are some of the advantages of living here? And again, this might not be something you could really speak to, but one of the pros that I had on my list is really a cheap cost of living and financial freedom. You know, honestly, that was one of the main reasons why I moved here, was just really this thing of financial freedom, where I wasn't tied to a job that I had to work, you know, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I can actually, you know, kind of live my life how I wanted, you know, get up and kind of do. So financial freedom for me, casual lifestyle is just absolutely incredible here. Love that. And then, yeah, better lifestyle for less money, access to more affordable services, including home care, maids, chef, drivers. You know, a lot of these things that I just talked about right there, that's only for like the top 1% in the United States. Here, those are common services that you can get very affordable. So, and like for me, as a, you know, whatever, kind of a younger guy that's here in his 50s, it's not a big deal. But, you know, for a guy who's maybe a little bit older,
Yeah, who needs medical
yeah,
assistance.
having that medical assistant, having a chef come in and make your meals for you, or having a maid to help clean up and do and grocery shopping, stuff like that. I mean, that is incredible service to have as you're an elderly person, or even a full-time live-in healthcare. You know, these are all things that are affordable here on a Western budget, right? Yeah, so some of the other pros I have, yeah, I mean, obviously breathtaking locations. You got stunning beaches and scuba and just, you know, mountains and just, you know, gorgeous scene and setting here. And then a couple of the last things I have on here, you know, people actually like and respect Westerners. You know, I mean, they like us here. I mean, right? It's a happy society that likes Westerners. I mean, come on, that's so awesome.
Yeah, they're happy to see foreigners, the tourists that comes here and appreciate the beauty of the Philippines.
Yeah, yeah, so cool, right? To live in a place where we're actually admired, and that goes for elderly people too. This is the culture that actually admires and respects elderly people.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty much all I got on this on my list that I ran through. I'll put this in the video description again, so you kind of run through it again, just kind of rough notes as far as what we're seeing in this video. But really, I think it's something that's come up as we've met a couple of people recently, and they're like, you know, they might be better off in Thailand or that kind of thing, right?
Oh yeah, or
You know.
in BGC.
Yeah, or in BGC.
So,
you know, really, and take a look. Is the Philippines the right destination for you?
yeah, a new perspective. So leave everything behind, all the negativity, the bad attitude, the negative West influence.
Right.
So start fresh.
Yeah, start over here. That's
Yeah.
why you're out here anyways. You don't need to bring that with you. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, we're gonna head out. Catch you guys on the next one. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. I wonder if it got too dark though.